Hello everyone, this is Marius for CardCoaches.com, and today we are here at Johannes Strassmann's house in Vienna, and I'm very proud to have my interview partner Daniel Cates, aka jungleman12. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up?
Yeah, I'm doing good also. And I mean, it's very obvious that people know that you are good friends with Johannes. And so my first question would be, why are you here in Vienna? What is the real reason for your stay here?
I just want to have a little bit of a vacation, and I'm waiting for a visa to go through in the UK. And I like Vienna a lot. So yeah, I just thought I'd come out here and have some fun. And also another reason is that I wanted also to train with Johannes to get in better shape. That's another reason. I've been working out really hard lately, and things have been going good.
Okay. How do you like the girls in Vienna actually?
I don't like them as much as the more Eastern European girls, but they're pretty attractive. And one thing about them is that they also seem like high quality girls as well. Like they have their lives together. They're liberal, intelligent, things like that. That I also really like about them.
So dating is going so far very well, or?
I've had some language barrier issues. But I've been talking to a few girls from here. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So you were already talking about your training a lot and everything. Of course, there is a big issue, the fight against Andrew Feldman, or at least the planned fight. So, I mean, people would be very intrigued about some details maybe. People still don't know what kind of fight it would be, which conditions there are. Could you give us any details so far?
Well, on that, I think that there's not a very high chance that it goes down, because it seems like Andrew's not really like putting any effort into getting the fight, figured out. Like we haven't talked at all about details, and I tried a few different times to get him to try to talk to me, but he hasn't done that. I mean, yeah, we haven't really even agreed on what it would be. I don't know if I'd do boxing. I'd probably rather do something like MMA or something. And don't know much more than that. We'd probably play for like 100K or something like that, or fight for 100K. That's probably the only certainty right now. Yeah.
And could you tell me how the idea for the fight developed?
Well, it started with a little bit of a dispute, but we're cool now, more or less. He wanted to fight me for something kind of ridiculous that we disagreed about, and it's about all I can say. It's in the past now, though.
What do you think about that Tony G claimed for being your referee for the fight?
I think that's a funny idea, actually. I'd like him to be the referee, sure.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about live poker. In last year, December, you offered everybody a challenge, the 100K challenge, that you get to play everyone 200, 400 heads up in Prague, but no one was willing to accept the challenge. Why do you think was that the case?
Well, a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's not. I mean, it's a decent place for it, in that a decent amount of people would be at Prague, but it's not nearly as good as, say, Vegas. Maybe it'd be a better idea to do something similar, but in Vegas. And so that's one reason why people have to fly out to Prague to come and play me. So there's not a huge incentive on that in that aspect. Another reason why is because I didn't really offer any added incentive, and realistically, I don't think it's feasible to add that much of an incentive if we're playing live, anyways, unless we intend on playing a large amount of hands. I guess for those two reasons in particular, and I guess my reputation. No one particularly wants to play me, I guess, would be why.
So would you have been, I would say, a little bit intimidated if Isildur I would have accepted the challenge, since he has been kind of soul reading you online so far?
Well, soul reading is a bit of an exaggeration.
I mean, I have to say that's an addition that Johannes made.
Okay, well, I'd be ready to play him. I mean, he's a great opponent, and he's one of the guys that I really fear and kind of respect. But I'd play him, and it'd be a good match.
So the heads-up challenge didn't take place. But instead, there was a cash game going on with blinds 50-100 with like full ring people. And you got to play there also Philipp Grüßem, a German poker player. And there was one big hand. You can also see it at thepokerfarm.com, in which you got to play him. And he had a full house on the river. And you had just like ace queen, and he get to bet you, and he re-raised you all in. Do you know that hand? Do you remember that hand? Can you give us some thoughts on that?
I think I played that hand pretty bad. That's my main thought. I don't want to talk about it that much. Just that I think I could have not gave him another 10K. That's about. Do you want to know more?
Sure, if you can tell us something, yeah.
Oh well, he like basically check raised the turn. And I had ace queen, and I didn't think he had a very strong hand. I just had ace high, and there were 3 people in the pot, right? I just didn't think he would have many tens possible, so I called, and then the river completed the flush draw that was on the turn. He checked, but I wanted to make sure that he folds hands that have pairs in them, just in case. So I decided to try to bluff him off like whatever, and it's like really difficult to put me on like a very a weak hand there, but unfortunately he had a boat, and he got me, trapped me, so it didn't work out very well.
Do you know something about the player?
I know he plays tournaments. I don't know much more than that. Someone described him to me as really what's the word, really crazy or something like that. He tries to pull crazy bluffs, etc. He used a different term. It wasn't hoodlum, which is the term that I use, but I forget exactly what he said. Yeah, but supposedly he's kind of nutso.
Yeah, he's a very good tournament player, as you mentioned. He won 2 high roller events at the EPT. So, okay. You also participated in this year's Aussie Millions big game with the blinds 500, 1000, ante 100. And you stated on Facebook that you got demolished with a loss of roughly, I think, 250K. How was your impression of your performance there?
I actually lost more than that in Australia. I lost a lot more than that. I personally don't think I played that bad, except for like 1 or 2 hands that I might have misplayed. I just think I mostly got cold decked, and I made a few mistakes as well. And there's certainly things that I can improve on, but I don't think I played it, say, as badly as the ace queen hand. That being said, like I said, did make mistakes, and next time I'll keep them in mind and try to improve on my game.
Okay, let's talk about one specific hand at the Aussie Millions cash game. I read it on a live blog, and it was like against Sam Trickett, and the board read 9 of hearts, check of clubs, 10 of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, and 8 of clubs. And we're on the river, and the pot was like 150K, and Sam Trickett was betting out 125K, and you had roughly 110K behind, and you decided to call, and of course you tabled ace queen for the winning straight. And what were your thoughts on this hand, and what did you call with?
I had a set. I had top set, but pretty much any hand that mucks is about the same, unless I were to call with like a pair of 9s or something. A pair of 9s call would be a really bad call. I just thought on the river that I know that Sam Trickett is fully capable of turning hands into bluffs, and he like does it a decent amount. And I just thought he would, and I also know that he like, I also know a couple other things about him that I can't say, and I just thought that while he should have like a decent amount of queens there, I thought he might be bluffing often enough to call there, but in actuality, I think it was a bad call in retrospect.
Are you thinking that you are much worse live than online?
And no, I don't think that.
What do you think about playing against players like Patrick Antonius, Isildur? Do you think that there are still leaks in their games and also your games? And do you also think that someone else has an edge on someone else, or do you just think that it's the cards that decide the outcome of these encounters?
Well, on the concept of whether like Isildur, Patrick, myself have leaks, well, it depends on what kind of leak you're talking about. I mean, all of us are like exploitable in certain different ways. I mean, you could call that a leak. I mean, we have like ways in which you can beat us, but like one thing that makes the good players really good is that they adapt and they see the players are adjusting and then close those leaks and alter the game. And that's what I think makes me, Isildur, and Patrick good. What other questions did you have?
I mean, has anybody an clear edge on someone else?
Yeah, sure. Like different styles in poker counter other styles. You know, oftentimes even at high stakes, you find really good players losing to players who are not as good. Occasionally because their style just like happens to work against them. And in addition, there's like things like momentum, like the way that things happen, like really alters the way that the game or way that a match will develop later on. So also for that reason, sometimes players can have edges on other players. There's a decent amount in poker that decent amount of the outcome in poker just has to do with like what exactly happens, like what kind of information you gain based on showdowns, what bluffs fail, stuff like that, basically.
Okay, let's turn our focus on the high stakes poker games in Macau. The stakes are even higher than those at the Aussie Millions cash game, and I think you have not been playing there so far. Don't you think it would be worth playing there?
Yeah, eventually I'm going to go there. Just have to. I'm like kind of busy. I like travel around a decent amount. I've got a number of things on my schedule, but eventually I'm going to go to Macau. Yes.
And recently, one player, the Ole Christian Nørgaard, has been making a lot of noise there. What do you know about this kid, and are you willing to play him maybe eventually?
I don't know a whole lot about him. I just know that he's like 19 or something like that. He's inherited like $30 million. That's about all I know. He seems like a cool guy, at least from his Twitter, and like I've never heard anything bad about him. I heard someone told me that he mucked like a winner of a 500K hand in Macau to Tom Dwan. I've heard that, but other than that, I don't know much about him.
Yeah, that would be my next question. This specific hand, he mucked in a pot where he called all in on the flop. Tom Dwan already hit his straight, and he called, I guess, with a straight draw. And then the turn was an ace, at least a blank, and the river was an 8 to give him, Ole, the better straight, and he mucked. So what do you think about such a mistake in a live game?
Well, mistakes like that aren't they don't inherently they don't inherently have much to do with like skill level in live game. It's like kind of a careless mistake. But that being said, careless mistakes kind of go away the more that you do something. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it just means he hasn't much experience live, but I don't know him that well.
Have you ever encountered such a mistake yourself?
Oh, one time during Vegas, I was playing against someone, a pretty experienced player actually. He must have been playing for ages, like a friend of Patrick Antonius's, someone named Yanni, and he'd been playing regularly in the games and was pretty solid. I remember I checked like top set to him on like a not so great river where I thought he could bluff as well. I checked and he mucked, and then he later after that realized that he mucked the best hand, and I would have probably paid off a bet as well. He was really, really mad. I actually felt a bit bad for him and gave him like part of the money back, just because, I don't know. I thought he was a nice guy.
That's a cool reaction. I like it. Okay, so you recently mentioned a big PLO game going on in Vegas in the Rio, like everyone straddled to 5K and there was at least 40K in the middle of the pods. There was obviously going on big gambling there. Could you give us any details on that specific game that you were playing in?
Well, that game was like one of the, yeah, I guess you could say like the highlight game of my Las Vegas trip. Um, it was probably the craziest game I've ever really played because everyone was playing ridiculous. It was almost like play money, and there's just so much gamble going on. It was like almost like like entered into like a different like part of the world where it just seemed like almost like a too good to be true scenario in that case. And like there's tons of attention on the table, like everyone was watching the table, and guys were coming up to ask us for change chips because they were too shy to because they wanted to have some excuse to talk to the table or be a part of it. It was pretty fun.
And you also claimed that the field there was very soft, which was a surprise. Is that right? Was that right?
Well, I guess everyone was just in a gambling mood, and there were some weaker players at the table. That's true. It wasn't. I mean, a lot of them had like an idea of what they're doing, but I just thought it was soft personally.
Generally talking, do you think that poker players that play live on such high limits are worse than those who play those stakes online?
Yeah, I would say so. They're worse in certain ways. Live poker, it requires like a different skill set than online poker. Online poker really forces you to focus on the fundamentals of poker and playing poker well, because that's all you really have. But in live poker, you can also look to read your opponent through visual cues. You can gain information from other players, and like live players are more used to like kind of like thinking outside the box to like get to make an edge, so to speak. They're also good at like being political, things like that, and like just like the softer skills of live poker, or that have something to do with live poker.
So now that you live in London, you obviously play those Euro online poker sites under names which we surely wouldn't reveal here, of course. But anyways, how are the games going so far for you?
The good news for this year and last year is that online has gone very well for me. I've won something like 1.4 million on Euro sites. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get on Stars yet, but that will be resolved soon once I can get money on that site. Yeah, I mean, online is going pretty well for me.
Do you feel that it is possible to detect a player just by observing his style and his for a longer period of time? I mean, if you don't know the name, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I can absolutely tell which player is which. You can tell by bet sizes as well. That's a really big one and really obvious. Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard to figure out who's who, and like there are only so many players that play high stakes. So I'd say that yeah, I mean, while names are anonymous, it's not that hard to figure out who's who. I've always been good at that, and I pay like really close attention to what each player does.
So another big issue is obviously the dirt challenge against Tom Dwan. Well, there was a Black Friday, which was a big obstacle for you. Of course, last time I talked to you, you told me that Dwan was very busy with his live games and everything, and that he wouldn't be even very motivated to keep on the challenge. So have there been any talks to him so far?
Yeah, what you said is true. He's like distracted with all the other stuff he's got going on. I would say that we talked a little bit about it. Basically, the plan is to wait and see if Full Tilt opens, and if that happens, probably have the Dirt Challenge there. But if not, maybe we can take it to Stars. But the Dirt Challenge for now is scheduled to continue at some point.
As you know, Johannes Strassmann and Markus Golza founded the personal poker school CardCoaches.com, where the best German poker players are sharing their knowledge so far. How important is it to learn and discuss poker, especially in the beginning of someone's career?
Well, it's very important. Like basically, the more it also depends on what your goals are. If you really want to have success in poker, then ideally you just essentially immerse yourself in all the information possible. And yeah, I mean, the more information you get and the more feedback you get from poker, the better you'll become eventually.
So, in comparison to the US, where poker is very established already and the knowledge of poker is easily accessible to the players, could you make a prediction on how card coaches could have an impact on the German-speaking countries for poker?
Well, I already know that a poker strategy is also, they already entered the market. Obviously, I work for Poker Strategy, and they're distributing, information about poker as well. But I assume, like, with the addition of CardCoaches, that the games would, a lot of players would benefit from that information, and the games would get even tougher, I'd say.
So the last time we met, it was also in Vienna here, like 6 months ago, and there you were conducting a high-stakes poker seminar with Johannes Strassmann. And this time there will be also another high-stakes poker seminar in the King's Casino in Wrocław, Czech Republic, on the 2nd of April. What can players expect of this seminar?
There'll be a lot of good information, some different coaches, I believe. Not quite sure yet of all the coaches that'll be there. Me and Johannes will obviously be there. And I think some bigger tournament names as well. But yeah, it should be good. And it'll be improved on from last seminar as well. So it'll be even better.
Can you tell us how much the buy-in will be roughly?
We haven't quite decided on that yet. So no, I can't say.
Okay. Now that some poker players like the Dang brothers or even Johannes Strassmann are also proving their skills as businessmen, what do you think? Would there be an option for you to build up your own projects or businesses, maybe even besides poker?
Maybe down the line. The idea of venturing into business has been appealing to me, but right now I just want to focus on poker and continue trying to make money that way.
So what are your plans then for the nearest future? Maybe are you planning to give your 100K challenge a second try?
We'll see in the future. In the near future, I'll be traveling to Vegas. I'll be playing the World Series as well. Hopefully this time I'll have a bit more luck with the tournaments. And, just do big things and get in shape. That's one thing I've been trying to do. And just live life well.
My last question would be, what are your goals besides poker for the nearest future?
Well, like I said, get in shape is one. Enjoy life to the most that I can. That's another one. Let's see. One thing I eventually wanted to do was make like a positive difference in the world. Like with a larger sort of project thing, not just charity, just because charity to me sounds really generic. And it also actually benefits the person that gives charity. So there's that. Another thing is, meet lots of women and, just have fun in general. Have fun with new women, etc.
Having fun is good. My last question would be, you're obviously a big fan of This Is Why I'm Broke. So what's your favorite device there?
My favorite, I don't know if well, there are a few things that I might buy. I thought the remote control tarantula was hilarious. Although it's supposedly not that great. Let's see. The Tron motorcycle is pretty cool.
Okay. So this is it. Marius for CardCoaches.com. We're here in Vienna. It was nice talking to Daniel Cates, aka Jungleman. Thank you very much, Dan, for the interview.
Thanks.
See ya. Bye.